Hello, welcome back. Never a dull moment, and I swear today just proves that we're living in Blake Lively's telenovela. I swear to God, this ain't real. This is not real. Mr. Ryan Reynolds has filed a motion to have his lawsuit dismissed. He wants no part of it. Blake, girl, I'm telling you, your biggest op right now, your biggest op is your husband, okay? Okay. Now, it is in their right to have a motion to dismiss. I honestly am not surprised that a motion to dismiss happened. I just thought it was going to happen months ago, not 3-4 months down the road. And not only Ryan Reynolds standing alone on an island, I thought him and Blake were going to file a motion to dismiss a while back, and it didn't. So now it just comes kind of at a funny time. And honestly, the motion to dismiss wouldn't be that bad if it didn't come with the follow-up comments from Ryan's camp and his team. And the comments are what made me be like, okay, so Justin Baldoni is living in your head, Ryan Reynolds, rent-free 24/7. You're obsessed. You're jealous. It's showing. The jealousy is seeping through. We can see it. Let's just quickly go over the statements that have been made, and then we'll touch upon the motion to dismiss that was submitted. There's a few paragraphs that are quite interesting. Again, I can go over the whole thing if y'all leave enough comments that want me to do it. It's wild. It's crazy. It's been a roller coaster, but buckle in because I'm going to take you just a few times where Ryan Reynolds is in this thing, in it thick, girl. He's in it, and he's not going to get out of it so easy just saying he's been a supporting husband, and we're going to go over that. So if you're ready, I'm ready. Let's dive in. Ryan is asking to dismiss the claims against him with prejudice so it can't be filed again. Interesting. Lawyers for Ryan Reynolds tell TMZ Mr. Reynolds has a First Amendment right to express his opinions of Mr. Baldoni, which should be comforting to a group of people who have repeatedly called Miss Lively and Mr. Reynolds bullies and other names over the past year. Meanwhile, a spokesperson for Ryan says, the claims filed against Mr. Reynolds are simply a list of grievances, attempting to shame Mr. Reynolds for being the man Mr. Baldoni has built his brand pretending to be. A man who is confident enough to listen to the women in his life. I can't because I'm like, y'all did all that obsessing over him, all that research over him. You have a whole team. You have B613. You have all of these people dredging up everything out of his life, and you're saying the same stuff your wife said. It literally reminds me of that 8 Mile rap beef when then the guy was like, are you listening? Because you're saying the same stuff that he said. You're using the same quote from 2017 in one TED Talk that he used. Y'all can't come up with literally nothing else. Did you even read her lawsuit? You're quoting the exact same things, nothing original. How unoriginal. And this really screams just the mindset, honestly, and the insecurities are so loud because if you're a good guy, you don't need to be like, I'm a good husband, I'm a good guy, I'm a bigger man than he is, I'm the alpha, I'm the alpha. That's literally, to me, that's what I'm getting out of it, while Justin is just staying low, getting his stuff together, fighting this battle. He is, I think, pretty sure of himself. He knows who he is. He's not out here boasting all of this stuff. And then he, because he's not the man that he pretends to be. I'm the better man. I'm a husband. I'm a supporting husband. Crying. No, it's too late, sweetheart. Anyway, sorry, to me that's just kind of what it screams out, alpha, I'm the alpha here. Anyway, moving on. Brian Freeman obviously did have something to say. Brian Freeman is blasting Ryan for filing a request to dismiss Baldoni's lawsuit against him, telling TMZ, Mr. Reynolds' exploitation of his enormous power in Hollywood continues, this time arrogantly asking to be dismissed from the case despite his publicly documented involvement extending far beyond just being a supportive spouse. Mr. Reynolds was a key player in the scheme defaming Justin around Hollywood, strong-arming WME into dropping Justin as a client and trying to destroy Justin's career however possible, period. Ryan filed the dismissal documents Tuesday, calling Justin thin-skinned for complaining the so-called Nicepool character from Deadpool and Wolverine was mocking him. Cause it was, whether they'll be able to prove that or not. Cause it was, we see it now. But Brian Freeman says Ryan Reynolds trying to skate is laughable because his fingerprints have been all over this smear campaign against Justin and the Wayfarer team since day one. Mr. Reynolds now attempts to reduce plainly cognizable claims to hurt feelings, sending a clear message that bullying is acceptable. I mean, nice try to get it dismissed. I don't think it has any legs to stand on. We can take a look at the claim if you want. Maybe we should just read the first page just so you kind of get an idea of what's going on in it and what Ryan is claiming. Blake Lively sued Jamie Heath, Justin Baldoni, It Ends With Us Movie LLC, Jennifer Abel, Melissa Nathan, Wayfarer Studios LLC, and Steve Sorowitz, the Wayfarer parties, after they collectively launched a retaliatory social manipulation campaign to destroy and bury her because she privately spoke up against sexual harassment and inappropriate conduct that she and others experienced on the set of the film It Ends With Us. So what does Ryan Reynolds have to do with that, legally speaking, other than being a supportive spouse who has witnessed firsthand the emotional, reputational, the financial devastation Miss Lively has suffered? Nothing. Mr. Reynolds is a defendant in this action for one reason and one reason only, because billionaire plaintiff Steve Sorowitz promised to spend up to $100 million to ruin Miss Lively and Mr. Reynolds. The First Amendment complaint that Sorowitz and his co-plaintiffs filed seeks to fulfill that promise by polluting this court's dockets with hundreds of paragraphs of clickbait designed for an audience other than the court. I assume that's us. Thanks for bringing us into this, Ryan. With virtually no bearing or cognizable legal claims, the Wayfarer parties have described the FAC as their most recent attempt to put all the evidence before the court and the public. This is a damning concession given the lack of any actual evidence supporting any legally cognizable claim against Mr. Reynolds. The Wayfarer party's so-called receipts include annotated excerpts, many with heavy redactions made by some unidentified person of emails, text messages, videos, and photographs, such as large-colored photographs comparing Mr. Reynolds' long hair style, and then it goes on to talk about, and then Justin Baldoni at some point of time with long hair. Maybe the point of time of pre-production going into It Ends With Us. Please. I'm getting worked up. I need my hair tie. It's just so funny for them to now bring in saying that, like, there's no evidence that he was involved. We haven't seen a shred of evidence by Blake about the smear campaign, about the SH, about the repeated SH, about complaints about such behavior. Zero. Not one text message from Blake with anybody talking about the emotional stress she was enduring. Not one email or text message complaining about the repeated SH that she apparently was going through. Not one text between Ryan and Blake, even to just put out there where she's saying how uncomfortable she feels. Nada, zilch, nothing. Nothing. Justin did provide receipts upon receipts upon receipts upon receipts. You feel me? But it's okay, Ryan, because we know something about you, and we know all of the things that you did inside of this movie, at least from what can be proven so far. And then that's why there is discovery, where they will find probably even more. But let's just talk about a few things that you did on this movie, just one or two. So yes, quickly, let's just talk about a few of the times that you unnecessarily inserted yourself beyond the role of supportive husband, that you injected yourself into the movie, and that you had your hand all up in Justin's stuff. All right, let's go back to April 12th when Justin Baldoni showed up at your house to having a meeting with your wife, Blake Lively, and he is greeted by you. Who just keeps going over and over and over how great Blake Lively's writing is of the rooftop scene. Do you know, this was pre-14 paragraph text message. You were there. And then who else showed up? Apparently Miss Taylor Swift. And you guys were going on and on and on about just how great Blake is as a writer. Your wife was so good as a writer that even on the red carpet at the press release of It Ends With Us, she let the entire world know that you actually wrote the rooftop scene. You're all over the movie. That's kind of weird. But yeah, she literally told the entire world that you wrote the rooftop scene, and then everyone was super confused that even Sony Legal Affairs was emailing Wayfarer and Justin Baldoni asking for clarification because nobody knew, because your wife insisted, had a temper tantrum, sent a 14-page unhinged text message about how she's never taken seriously as a writer and how the rooftop scene is blah, 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 just for then to find out that you wrote it. And you also got a credit, not credit, almost credited. I mean, you got an Ends With Us script collaborator uncredited. And then don't worry, because even though Blake Lively thanked everybody in the special credits, she also thanked you, but Gordon Reynolds, who plays Nicepool. That's weird. So even if it isn't Nicepool, even if Nicepool can't be found out, there's more. We don't need Nicepool. You were all up in It Ends With Us. Let's just go over a few more. Allegedly. Let's talk about how Blake Lively pushed maximum effort onto the show It Ends With Us to take all of the promo, all of the press tour to hire your company. And it was supposed to be like for free, I guess, work free for the family, which probably ultimately wasn't. But it says right here by Blake, but all is led by me, Ryan, and blank. So we'll just make sure to weed out any of the lame ideas. Lame ideas? Like this one?
It's cool. It's not every day the husband gets to interview his wife's love interest in a film.
Well, it's not every day the mother-in-law of the leading lady gets to interview the love interest, and the man trying to replace my sweet little gummy bear, Ryan.
It's not every day a guy gets to interview the love interest of his best friend's wife, and the guy trying to replace Ryan as a husband and me as his best mate.
Or how about even still in the summer when y'all are claiming that Justin Baldoni and Wayfarer had this huge smear campaign against your wife when clearly it was only your own maximum effort promo that did it, really dug it in. How about how they were still trying to protect Blake Lively while you were doing all of the maximum effort stuff against her reputation? They were still, between June 20th and 2024, they were inquiring about a content shoot that Lively seemingly coordinated with Maximum Effort Ryan Reynolds' production company. Sony, at the time of the initial outreach by Abel, was not aware of the plans for the shoot. And then later, Sony attested to the fact that Lively and Maximum Effort were running the show. And how now the marketing team for Wayfarer and It Ends With Us is in complete control of Maximum Effort, allegedly, even to the point where it says that the creative team has been dealing with extensive revisions based off feedback from Blake. Ryan's agency, Maximum Effort, is producing content. And then even during that time, Justin Baldoni still showed up to some of your pop-up events that were planned, and even struggling and having a bad time because it was being told to him that even at this time, Ryan Reynolds was in fact smearing Justin Baldoni all over Hollywood with all of his friends. You know, this was July 17th of 2024. Ryan Reynolds was calling Baldoni's agent and saying what a horrible person Justin is. Still, he was emailing trying to get Blake to pivot and to change so that he could protect the image of her and the film. And then still in July of 2024, y'all still go to that Deadpool and Wolverine. And we all know what happened there. There were some comments that were said, bruh. So no, it wasn't just the character from Nicepool, although that is enough, I think, in the eyes of the public. But in the eyes of the court, you were all up in here. You handled Ryan Reynolds' company, Maximum Effort, did all of the press and all of the publicity for It Ends With Us. That press tour and publicity is what got Blake so horribly judged, criticized, smeared against, and all of her old past coming up to her because it was so unbelievably tone deaf and distasteful that people were like, what the heck? Justin Baldoni and Wayfair still, during that time, were trying to email Blake's team as well as Sony to get Blake to pivot because they were seeing they were seeing the criticism, they were seeing the drama. They were like, please, get her to pivot. These aren't working, and shared the posts that weren't working, and they refused to do it. So, which is it? Well, you know, it doesn't make sense to me, but while you were with your dragons at the premiere, you had Baldoni and his family in a basement, and no one puts Baldoni in the basement. And then you show up on set the next day? You were on set a lot, apparently? Yeah, okay. And you have nothing to do with it? You are just being a supportive husband? And let's not forget about the meeting of the dragons that happened in October where you and all of your friends, all of the dragons all got together and everything changed. What happened in that meeting? Why does this thumbs up keep happening? What happened in that meeting? Something happened. You were more... Something happened. But it's a nice try. It's a good try. You really wanted to show us who's the man, huh? You're a man Justin always wished he could be. Now I know that's not right. Okay. Anyway, let's see what happens. I don't know what's going on here. Something's happening with my system. It's shutting down. Anyway, I have a lot of energy today. But yeah, that's the new motion to dismiss. I think, Ryan, you know, you can try to say that you were just being a supportive husband and you have nothing to do with this, but literally, Ryan Reynolds and Maximum Effort is all over the set, all over the promotion, and you are the biggest reason why Blake got so much shade thrown in her way. It wasn't Justin Baldoni, it was Maximum Effort and your own marketing plan that this happened. So maybe it's time to take a little responsibility instead of continuing to play the blame game. But I hope you all have a good day. I'll talk to you soon. Bye.